Hello, my name is Farouk. I'm a backend developer. Okay, the purpose of this video is to introduce you to web development, show you some things, tools needed so you can get started with the journey. So as you can see on my screen, I have a brief intro section. That the brief intro will be talking about what web development is, the tools, IDE, uh, I don't want to confuse you with all of these terms now. And then the VS Code and HTML. We'll be getting to know all this as we move. So I don't want to make these complicated using all these terms. I'll try as much as possible to abstain from these technical terms until I explain um, what they are. So web development is actually a way that you translate what users do, maybe on the computer, on the internet. Is a way you translate it to the computer, the interaction between users and the computer and servers and all of that. That's what web development is all about. So let's say you're on a website, you maybe you want to subscribe to a newsletter, or you want to click on a button to perform a task. So what happens under the hood, what happens, what you're seeing, all those things are part of web development. So I won't want to confuse you further. I'll just try and move on. So the tools needed for web development, one of the most important tool for me, I think all developers need or use most. For me, I think it will be the IDE. The IDE now is, as you can see, is an integrated development environment. That means is a platform where you execute code. You write code, maybe code from a programming language, telling the computer to perform a particular set of action. And with that IDE, you can test, you can view, you can practice, you can get sample, you can. Yeah, there are a lot of things you can achieve with the IDE. It actually makes the work easier. So IDE is an important tool for web development. So the we have a lot of IDEs. We have a lot of them. We have Atom. Uh, yes, we have VS Code is an IDE. I can't remember some off my head right now, but I think VS Code is Visual Studio Code, as you can see here, is one of the most important, popular IDE. So VS Code is owned by Microsoft. So okay, first let's go start by installing VS Code. So as you can see, I'm using a Mac operating system. So if you're using a Windows or a Linux, that's fine. So it's pretty much the same way, though a bit of things you might have to select might be different, but it's still, I think you still be fine if you have a different operating system. So all you need to do, if you're using a Windows, you can open a browser. So browser on your Windows might be Chrome, Edge, Mozilla. Yeah, uh, if you're having Safari, yeah, like I have on Mac, that's fine. So I'll be using Safari over here. So on the address bar, in the address bar, I'll just type in VS Code. So right here, you can click on this download button or go into the link and download. So I'll be using this button. So over here, yeah, as you can see, you have VS Code for Windows, and yeah, Windows 8, Windows 10, and Windows 11. And then for Linux, which is Debian, Ubuntu, Fedora, and the likes. So for Mac, so since I'm using Mac operating system, I will be using this. So you can just click on this, it will redirect you to a download page, so it should start downloading any moment. But I've actually downloaded it before starting this video. As you can see, is in my downloads folder. So for you, you might need to wait a little bit for the download to complete. If it's a zip file, you might need to like extract it first, and if not, if it's an exe file or other file format, you can just try running it. So yeah, in my downloads is right over here, so I'll just start the installation. Okay, yeah, okay, I'll just open it. Okay, this is just trying to show me tell me to choose an appearance. I'll choose the dark mode for now, and then I'll just skip all this. If you want to set up, if you want to sign in, you want to sync, if you have a VS Code before from another device, you can sync. And then okay, shortcut to access everything. I want to set up all of this, but I won't be going into that for now. So yeah, this is still the startup part. I'm going to the next section, boost productivity. You can just set this all up. It does to your taste, depends on how you want it. So this is VS Code running already. So right now I'm going to show you some extensions. It's okay, I think we're done with the installation. So I'm going to show you some extensions that are important. We want to go too far with extensions for now. So right now I'm just going to get those that I think will be needed for you getting started. As time goes on, you might need to start installing extensions as you need. So extension is just like something that will even make you have access to particular functions, make you do some things extra on the VS Code, make it easier for you to run codes and all of that. So the first extension I will be installing on the VS Code, you can do the same on your end, is the live server. So you can just type in live here to show it. So this live server, I'm going to select this first one, yeah, live server by, okay, which week day. So it's going to take a bit of time to install. Yeah, it's installing. So the VS Code is you can open VS Code in folders, maybe a location where you want to create files, development files. So right now the VS Code is open, but I've not selected the folder that I want it to be for the files to be in. So I can just let me say I go into documents, and then okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to close this VS Code and then try opening it after I create a folder, a location. So let's say I go into documents and then I add new folder. I name it maybe developments here. So I have the folder here already. I can okay, I can now open the VS Code. Okay, yeah, it is the VS Code. So once it's open, I can just drag this folder here. It will open in that location. As you can see, you have development here. So okay, he's trying to warn me. Okay, I should allow VS Code to access folder here, and then is trusted. I can trust it. I created it. So this development here now, let's say, okay, on our list of what we want to do, we have extensions. We've installed some sample extensions. So now, before we go on the VS Code, I would like to talk about HTML. HTML is a hypertext markup language. So what that means is a kind of language. When we say language in development, it means something that stands between you and what the computer understands. The computer understands its own language. So this language here now is just something telling the computer to perform something, to do something. So this is a kind of language that communicates with the browser, most especially communicates with the browser to mark up stuff, how the layout is going to be, and all of that. So with HTML, we have tags, we have all of that, and we're going to go into that in a moment. So first, going into that, you need to create a file. For you to do that, you can right click and then click on new file, or you can just click on this icon here. This icon is for folder, this icon is for file. So if you want your file to be in a folder, you can create a folder first, name it maybe, okay, let's say my first project. Now I'm going to do something like this, my first project as the name of the folder. And then in this folder, I'm going to add a file. And I'll say, okay, say sample.html. So I save it as sample.html. As you can see, it has the HTML extension. So for you to use HTML, VS Code made it easy. There are some things that you can just shortcuts you can use using VS Code. It's HTML. So for HTML, for you not to maybe start typing the whole structure, how it's going to look, you can just maybe click the exclamation. You see, it's going to bring this. Then once you do that, you can just press enter. So by doing that, it has given us a structure of how most HTML how HTML files are enclosed. So some of these things here, we're going to have them in the body. Some of the markup and all of that is going to be in the body. And then there's a title in the head tag. All this here is a tag. This that I've selected here is a tag. All these, they are all tags. So so on this title, let me change it to my oh sorry, excuse me, apologize for that. So I'm going to, okay, before I do that, let me just Ctrl Z. So I start it with live server. So you see, I'll right click on this HTML file and then I say open with live server. I think I should open it on my browser. Oh yeah, this is it. It's a blank document for now, but as you can see here on the name on the tab, document, that's the title here. So if I should choose maybe my first project, and using advantages of using the live server, the moment you save, it automatically reloads. So it looks out for changes as you're developing, as you're making changes to the file you're watching it live server. So for that to be easy, okay, so the first tag I want to talk about is the header tag. We have the H1, H2, I think H1 to H6. So I think the H1 is bigger and bolder than the H2, H2 than H3, like that to H6. So if I'll show you an example of that in a moment. So this is how you open and close tags in HTML. So whatever you put inside this H1 tag, in between the opening and the closing tag, this is the opening tag. This is the closing tag. Whatever you put in between is going to be what will be rendered. So I can say hello world. So the moment I save, I can go to the browser and check, you see, hello world, and then I can do the same for H2 to H6. So okay, H2. So I'm just going to copy that down. H3, H4, H5, H6. So we're going to save it and look at that in a moment. So I've saved that on the browser. This is it. Hello world, hello world, hello world, hello world, hello world. So for now, I think I'm going to stop here. So you can go online, check HTML, see the tags. We're going to be going deeper into HTML tags in the next video, but for now I think we're going to stop here. So if you want to go further before watching more videos, or you can before watching more videos you can play around with it, you can go online, see all other tags that are available on HTML and play around with it. So I think I'll be stopping here for now. Thank you. See you in the next video.